Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reacting to
KAJ, the Finland-Swedish trio taking over Eurovision 2025.
Who are KAJ? The Swedish-Finnish boy band that won Melodifestivalen 2025 with a song about bathing in the sauna. The victory that brought Eurovision winner Måns Zelmerlöw to tears while earning a record of 4.3 million votes, the most amount of votes ever in Melodifestivalen history. But who are these three Finnish musketeers? Where did they come from and how did they end up representing Sweden at the Eurovision? KAJ consists of three childhood best friends: Kevin Holmström, Axel Åhman, and Jakob Norko. Similar to ABBA, every member's first letter is part of the band name. K stands for Kevin, A stands for Axel, J stands for Jakob. As kids, they played on the same football team, never knowing that their paths would cross again in middle school. But when they reunited as students, it was like no time had passed. Bonded by their love for music and comedy, they became the class clowns. Always cracking jokes, pushing boundaries, and making sure their classmates have a good laugh. Being young rebels wasn't just a phase, it was who they were. Living in a quiet small town like Vero, you don't easily find new people to make friends with. So when you find good ones,
I wonder if he knows them personally, or because this is kind of like a lot of private information, though.
maybe they talked about it before. I don't know.
Maybe.
them. And they did. In 2009, when they were just 15 and 16 years old, their friends launched a YouTube channel called KAJ Filmer. Their vision was quite simple: post whatever they found funny, whether it was a random cooking video, goofy skits, or even their first ever song, Fisken Gunnar, a quirky tune about a fish leaving Finland for a better life, only to end up in Japan as sushi. They had a unique and edgy humor played on representing the Nordic culture but also embracing its stereotypes. There wasn't a large abundance of original Finnish creators online, so KAJ would set that stage quite early. 5 years later, in 2014, they would step it up and announce their first ever theater show. The plan was to have free shows in the smallest venue they could get a hold of and hopefully sell enough tickets to make it go around. What they didn't expect was that after the announcement, the shows would be cancelled. It was actually because now they were going to do 24 sold-out shows in their largest venue at the Vasa Theater. None of them could have believed these news. The word had gotten out. KAJ was a sensation, delivering a spectacular performance that combined gospel music, cultural dance, witty humor, emotional acting, and much more. It was as if each band member completed each other's weaknesses, acting like yin and yang on stage, passing the ball to each other, and making the whole audience go wild at the same time. That summer, KAJ would release their biggest hit yet. Yono e yo yo yolo yono. It's quite a mouthful, but it means, well, I sure am YOLO I am. It's a song about a middle-aged man that wants to feel young and hip again. This was still 2014, mind you, when people were playing Flappy Bird and using an iPhone 4S. The song quickly gained popularity in Vero and the rest of Swedish Finland. Swedish Finland is a region of Finland where Swedish is spoken, but with a distinct Finnish accent. This was KAJ's target audience. For the group, it was important to use their accent in their songs, setting themselves apart in a way others couldn't. By proudly embracing their heritage, the Swedish Finns adored the trio and felt they finally had someone to root for. But even with this domestic success, the band was still busy with real-life jobs and family responsibilities. Kevin worked as an audio engineer, Axel was an author and journalist, and it wasn't until 2018 where they could work KAJ full-time and depend on the band for a living. Because this would be the year that KAJ would take it to the next level, announcing their first ever musical, Gambe Mark. This musical era would continue with high success. In 2019, they would try a different project, releasing the album Born to Burn under another artist name, Virgins. At the same time, they would celebrate their 10-year anniversary since beginning on YouTube with a
Wonder why they changed the artist name, though. Origins.
sold-out arena show. After the massive success of Gambe Mark, in 2021 they warmed up for the next musical, Botnia Paradise, which broke even bigger audience records and received critical acclaim. This set the bar quite high, even for KAJ, and the coming years wouldn't be as high tempo as before. Axel got quite busy with his own career as an author, releasing both children's books as Smugglaren Skatt and novels like Klein. But it wasn't until 2024 the band had to find their footing again and make the next big move. For a long time they had their eyes on the neighboring country in which they speak of the same tongue, Sweden. A dream of entering the Swedish market made sense, since their music was practically already in Swedish but with a Finnish strong accent. And an opportunity arose that would change the trajectory of KAJ's future.
Room in charge? No thanks. With Olafly Unlimited Data eSIM, I'm set up with 200.
In May 2024, they would receive an email. Melodifestivalen's producer Karin Gunnarsson reached out and suggested that KAJ should submit an entry. Of course, they said yes. However,
Wow, so hold up. The producers reach out to the artists to submit? I thought artists submit at their own accord.
That gets a little rigged.
It is interesting.
Rigor mortis.
It does give rigged. I mean, you know, I'm sure there's
Or
some.
maybe they say, hey, like maybe like scouts, like they reach out. Maybe they're not the only ones. Maybe they just
Maybe they reached
try to
out to
push.
multiple people, maybe.
Yeah, and you know they want to. Oh, Melodifest. No, I mean Melodifest is very popular already. I don't think they need that.
Yeah, I don't think. Huh.
I don't think they need to advertise people to come to
That's
participate
so
if they want to.
interesting.
But that's so different. I never heard of that.
I never heard of that either. Wow.
However, to participate in Melodifestivalen, at least one of the songwriters must be a Swedish citizen or registered in Sweden. The solution? They quickly settled on Anders Wrethov, a songwriter who, like Kai, loves blending genres. Gunnarsson paired them up, and Wrethov then brought in Robert Skovronski and Christopher
Wait, they gave
Strandberg
them
for
like rule. Wait. They had to wait.
One of the
did they
producers need to
satisfy-
be Swedish, so they just hired somebody in Sweden.
Why couldn't they just do it themselves?
They're Finnish.
Oh.
project. Kai had a clear reason for wanting to work with Wrethov. He was, after all, one of the creators behind Guld och gröna skogar, Hasse Andersson's big hit from Melodifestivalen 2015. It was a song that truly stuck in people's minds and showed how to combine folk music with a modern touch. Perfect for Kai.
Once they decided to participate, the big question arose. What were they gonna sing about?
They felt representation was important and wanted to highlight their Finnish roots, much like what is done in UMK, Finland's equivalent of.
That's interesting that Melodifestivalen reach out to a Finnish group.
I feel like
That's interesting.
I feel like if Melfest didn't reach out, they probably would have participated in Finland. I think so.
Melodifestivalen. UMK is known for being extremely creative and daring to be odd, which is why we've seen entries like Lordi's Hard Rock Hallelujah and KAJ's Cha 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 in Eurovision. They bring that flair of being a bit crazy. Kai wanted to bring that energy to Sweden and Eurovision with a distinctly Finnish theme. Their
But
song,
they had
So why this-
no one had any thought that they would even think to participate in the competition, period.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're trying to pull like talent from Finland to say, okay, let's try to block Finland from winning.
Oh, in that sense, yeah. No, I don't think they were trying to block. I honestly, I don't know. It could be just very innocent that the lady she happened to be the scout or whatever, the worker she works for
Did they have
Melfest, but she just could generally just be a fan of damn, this group is really funny, they
but
should try.
it's a Finnish group. Did they have music in
Swedish, yes, their music is in Swedish, but they're Finnish.
It's confusing.
There's a small region in Finland where they oh my god, where they speak Swedish.
Okay. So she
So-
probably
So maybe she was a fan of that group. I mean, it is possible. You can't say for sure she's not.
But do you
But
know how
it
many
looks
people
interesting.
apply to Melodifestivalen? Why do we have people that's looking for more people to apply?
I don't know.
There's, like, a
That
lot
that
of
is interesting.
people. Oh my god,
Sauna.
it was so
It's
hard
always
to
something to-
pick like who I wanted to win
Mhm.
Melodifestivalen in the first place.
whole world associated with Finland. A
Wow.
tradition that has existed for over 2,000 years. Making a humorous song about the sauna felt like a genius idea, and they were surprised no one had done it before.
But Bora Bora Bastu actually has a longer history to it, dating back all the way to 2018.
Back in 2018, Axel wrote the novel Bastutronen, or in English, The Sauna Throne, where a young man steps into the hierarchy of the sauna without understanding the rules. Where the honor seat is reserved for the strong men who throw water on the rocks, while the lower bench is reserved for the weak, children, Swedes, and
Wait,
the elderly. The novel both
there's
mocked and celebrated
rules,
Finland's
like,
Swedish
Apparently.
traditions, and now it became the foundation for Kai's Melodifestivalen
Do you
entry.
follow this
By the end of
protocol?
August, just a few weeks
It's hotter. So only strong men can handle the heat.
Oh, wow.
before Melodifestivalen's deadline on September 13, the song was ready. Bora Bora Bastu became an official entry and was selected by the jury. With the song, Kai stepped into the spotlight of Melodifestivalen.
Although they had one big issue.
Kai has always had a signature color, green. It was visible on album covers, clothing, and their entire aesthetic. But when KAJ dominated Eurovision
I
with the same
would've
color in
thought
2023, the guys
brown.
realized it was time to switch things up, and instead opted for a darker, more elegant look. They would wear suits and trousers as a tribute to the work life and becoming older, or as they would call it, karar i
Wow.
arbet, which translates to men at
Wow.
work. Kai participated in the fourth semi-final in Malmo. This semi-final would be decided by a public vote in 2 rounds. Bora Bora Bastu
I
received
would
the
have
second
never have thought the conflict with Karia and his green.
I don't think it was a conflict. I think they just wanted, to change an identity, as they said. I don't think it would have been a conflict or anything like that.
highest score and ultimately advanced to the final, after Måns Zelmerlöw secured his expected first place. But I don't think Måns was ready for Kai to advance. I believe Kai was underestimated, especially by the other participants. They weren't exactly well known in Sweden, and humor isn't exactly known to work in Melodifestivalen, so it was a total shock that they even made it through. Suddenly, everything became serious. Their hometown of Vero rallied behind them. Cars were decorated with stickers, and there was even talk of erecting a statue in their honor. Now, they couldn't let their roots down. Finland-Sweden had finally been heard and recognized. The song would garner buzz across Sweden. Towards the end of Melodifestivalen, the tide began to turn. It spread like wildfire and went viral even in countries like India and the Philippines. Bora Bora Bastu was suddenly streamed twice as much in Sweden as Måns' song Revolution, and the odds would skyrocket. A Kai fever was about to break out right before the final, a total nightmare for Zelmerlöw. Kai had become a cult
I
favorite in
wonder
Finland
if
for
that
over
plays a part in the deciding factor.
Who's the deciding factor?
The judges.
Oh, I don't know. Could be. I don't know.
a decade. But now it was clear
in a perfect
'Cause-
world, it would
'cause-
be totally about music, but you know,
No. No.
they are trying to win. They're not trying to
Yeah,
be fair.
they're not
trying
trying to
win,
lose. They're trying to
Here.
beat
If they went to
Ireland.
Eurovision, they could go from regional heroes to international superstars. This was the moment when Vero would have his chance of being put on the world map. In the final week before the final, the odds of Kai winning rose to second place. And the media started a feud between Måns and Kai. Måns as the obvious
Wow,
Melodifestivalen
I'm
winner that comes with the
sure.
polished pop song that's
I'm
expected from
sure.
Sweden, perfect for international radio and sung in English. And Kai, the weird Finnish underdog that had the local people on their side, but also break the curse of Sweden only sending English songs to Eurovision and having something
True.
cultural and
Yeah, they
spoken
had
in
the
the Swedish
stronger
language.
case.
It
They
was
had the
obvious.
stronger
Kai
case.
Then
Of
Måns?
course, yeah, of
Måns
course.
song wasn't
of
that good
course.
to be fair though, so it's not even. If Måns had like
But it
a
was
good
between
song,
him
yeah.
and Mons. Them and Mons.
Yeah, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Måns' song wasn't even that good, so.
would win the public vote. But the chance of Måns winning was still number one because of the jury votes. Everyone expected that the international jury would take Måns' side. The final took place in Strawberry Arena the 8th of March, and the ground was shaking with excitement, both at the arena but also online, where debate was hotter than ever. For the first time in what felt like decades, Melodifestivalen was totally unpredictable. Would Måns win with the support of the international jury backing him as expected, or would the people's champions Kai break through with the people's vote? It was tense. Måns ended up with the most points from the jury as expected, with 76. But he wasn't as happy as you'd imagine. You see, Kai received 74, only 2 points less than Måns. And with the clear odds of Kai receiving a record-breaking voting count from the public, it didn't bode well for the revolution he had in mind. The celebration was enormous, stretching from watch parties where people gathered to
look
watch
at
the
him.
final, to bars and even across countries. Finland and Vero were filled with joy over the result, doing what they typically do every time
They
they
don't
succeed or
believe
win
it.
something. Everyone heads to town to celebrate, but not everyone celebrated with tears of joy. Criticism against the win was massive, with Måns Zelmerlöw and Jon Lundvik leading the charge in this storm of emotions and harsh words in front of the press. A major debate erupted over whether Kai were truly talented and real singers. A rather embarrassing argument to make, given their long history of singing, doing legit opera. Like, you can see Kai's talent at its peak.
That's
they
not
use
fair.
proper vocal techniques to reach higher registers, singing in passaggio. It's not something everyone can do. Måns got a lot of flack for crying around the press and saying he's shocked that the jury gave them such high scores, implying that he felt the jury voted wrong. Jon Lundvik didn't say as nice things either. I mean, he was in a jittery mode laughing, but when asked by the press, he said that this is the new TikTok era and that's why humor is working, and that he would never use humor in his music. And the Swedish audience wasn't so happy with these
Damn.
Yeah, what do you expect them to say? They lost. They're
Well,
salty. It's okay. It's
Yeah,
human. They're
but
human.
that's
I
not
don't-
fair. To
What's
make
not
this
fair?
comment,
What
the
comment?
comment about it's TikTok error, because we
Why?
had funny submissions
Before
in
TikTok?
Eurovision before TikTok.
Okay, fair
There's
enough.
nothing
Well, I mean,
there.
they're salty. They lost. They just were like, I
Yeah.
mean, most people would be salty. It's not. Some people might just hold it in.
But man, Mons, he expects to win. He's like, y'all shorted me points.
He was expecting it to win.
reactions, because they were basically implying that Kai were inferior because they were singing in Swedish, but also that it was humor. It wasn't a seriously polished radio song that could get 200 million streams on Spotify. And both artists got ridiculed, both in the community but also on the press for reacting like this. But Sweden is now currently at the top of the odds to win internationally. The guys have promised to break the norm of Eurovision songs from Sweden being in English. This is like the first one since 1998. And it's crazy that it took
Yeah,
three
that's a
films
big
to make
deal.
Sweden feel a little pride in their own language.
I
From a small town in Finland
know.
to the Eurovision stage, Kai's story is one of humor, talent, and perseverance.
Yeah.
They've
They
proven
still
that
got to
staying
wear
true to your roots
green.
always works out. You can take the boy out of the village, but you can't take the village out of the boy. This is what Kai say at the end of their
Now
song.
that is
Come to
true.
Be. Kai is breaking Sweden's reputation of being
You still
unpredictable
feel
and
like you're
overrated
part of the
competitor in the
village?
contest, and instead becoming innovative, fun, and cultural again. One thing that ties their lyrics together from the musical to the debut album and Bara Bada Bastu is that their lyrics are silly. I'm thinking especially of the track Taco Hey, where Kai tries to make a Tex-Mex song about tacos with a Latin-influenced beat. In the verses, the guys rap about how to make a great taco with
know,
avocado.
I started to think they're like weird alcohol.
Viral Yankovic?
Yeah.
But they already gave me that initially. Well, not that, but they gave like the novelty vibe, right? The video we
Yeah.
did novelty songs. Their song is definitely a novelty song.
Avocados. This is their version of Netflix and chill, as they say in the song. It's genius how they can be humorous and over the top, yet serious in other songs. If there's a music genre out there, Kai has made a banger in it. I want to make more Eurovision content like this, and the only way I can afford to is by your free support by subscribing to the channel. Supporting an independent.
Cool.
Yeah, we done some interesting things here.
Yeah, interesting video.
Can I see the comments?
Bada bada bastu bastu. Subtitles in Swedish and English. Okay, cool. Reserved for the weak, children, Swedes, and the elderly. Thanks for that, Finland. I'm not sure I missed that. The Kai dialect is very local, not spoken by most Swedish speakers in Finland.
I guess it helps to make sure the sauna is always have space to sit, because if you're a strong man, you're gonna try to sit at the top. If you're a strong man, you sit in the bottom. You look inferior, so you're gonna just wait outside until the top position is available. That's what I
I, I think it's like tongue in cheek a little bit, but I think simple fact like the children cannot handle the heat at the top. It gets harder at the top. The
I
the
took
heat
that from the
rises.
thanks for that, Finland. Meaning, okay, now when someone's trying to go to the sauna, the bottom seats will always be open because it's reserved for children and the weak, the elderly.
Maybe, but if they can handle the heat, let them sit. But it's just harder. It is what it is. I didn't know like the etiquette like that, but it does
Me
make
either.
sense why it is like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes when I'm in the sauna, I don't want to go, but I want to cool down a little bit. You go like lay on the floor
Oh,
because it's cold there.
I don't go in because a lot of the ladies they like to work out in them.
That's the dumbest thing you can do.
Yeah. Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord, and as always, 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 share as much kindness as possible.